Alright, welcome back to another video. We got a few things planned today. We've been very busy, a lot of boring stuff. We've been a little short-handed. My dad and my brother were on a vacation. They're coming back soon though, but we've been a little bit short-handed. We've been kind of booking it all over the place. We've been trying to do things with 2 people that normally needs 3 or 4, but we've been able to manage. But today's list, we got to fix a couple of wells. We're running a little bit low on pressure on a couple of fields. Currently hooking onto the poly rig, and then we got to change a package on one field. We're finally having some decent weather that we haven't had for a while. For the past couple of, oh, that's unfortunate. Got to flip my ball around. Nah, I gotta jack this guy up. Oh well. But we've had crazy winds past couple of weeks. That one day we literally had 78-mile-an-hour gusts, which was ridiculous. And for a week straight, we had, oh, what was it? Minimum 30-mile-an-hour gusts. So yeah, it was ridiculous. Finally having some calm days, well needed. So we're starting to land plane a few fields, and we want to get ready to list up beds. And before we got to list up beds, we got to water the ground before land planing. It is very dry, way too dry. So hence why we're fixing wells with the poly rig. Gonna switch a pivot after that. Got a lot of work to put out for ourselves today. I already got the package ready for the new, not the new field, but for the next field. These are the new tips that are supposed to go in there. I believe there's a 300-gallon package in there right now, and this is a 400. We're actually upsizing it, moving some water around, but we're gonna do that later. Gonna fix a couple of wells on this section here first, and then go from there. The water on this section is currently going to that back corner over there. We got a field of wheat that we're watering right now, and as soon as they're done land planing this field right here that we're coming up to, then we're gonna switch the water to this field, start, I guess, essentially pre-watering it for listing up beds. So that's all on the agenda. And I think if I fix at least 1 or 2 wells today, which we got 5 wells out on this section, which is a lot more than usual, but once we fix at least 1 or 2 wells, then I believe we'll have plenty enough pressure to water this field right here, so we should be good. And after they're done land planing this field, they're moving on to the next field, the one that we got to switch a package on. So yeah, it's a busy day. We're doing a lot of stuff today. I feel like we don't have enough guys to do all the work we want to do, so we're kind of just all booking it all over the place. I feel like we're behind on everything, but it is what it is. We're making do with what we can, but I think we're slowly catching up. We're still a little bit behind, but not as behind as we were a couple of weeks ago. And there would be one thing that would help us to get ahead, and that would be rain. If we got rain, that would increases our, it essentially would give us another worker, because then we wouldn't have to water all of our wheat. We wouldn't have to water this field here to list up beds. We wouldn't have to do a lot of things, and that would definitely be a blessing if we could get some rain. It's just windy. It's been bad. It's rough trying to work outside when it's 40-mile-an-hour gusts, 50. You're trying to pull a well and your pipes just want to fly away in the wind. It's rough, it's crazy. We're managing, but forecast shows the wind is slowly dying down. I hope during planting season it won't be this windy. Usually whenever it's this windy in like February, March, it usually means it's going to be windy all year long, but I hope that's not the case. I really don't want it to be windy all year long. That's annoying. There's too much sand blowing in our faces. And we have a lot of cover crop in the area, but yet it's still blowing dust. That Sunday that we had that 78 mile an hour gusts, you couldn't see more than a mile in front of you. It was just solid wall of dust coming at you. It was bad. Some areas, there was, what was it, northeast of Lubbock, Texas, got 114 mile an hour winds, I believe. That was bad. You went further southwest Texas, closer to the Guadalupe Mountains. There, I think the wind clocked at right at 100 or something. So we didn't have it not near as bad as some other places, but it was still bad nonetheless. But it was some crazy windstorm that we had. I hope everyone stayed safe in that windstorm. I hope no one got too many too much stuff damaged. I hope everyone was okay. As far as I heard no people were injured or anything like that. It sounded like everyone stayed safe from what I could hear. There was a friend of mine, or one of our workers, yeah, he actually witnessed a semi crash right in front of him. Semi just tipped over right in front of him, but he was okay. No one died yet. So as far as that goes, you know, it's good that no one died. But here currently at this well, I'm gonna start fixing this one. I actually don't know what's wrong with this well, so I am gonna check up on it first before I do anything. It's not blowing any air, so by that I don't think it's pumping. So it might be the pump, but I just remember that it wasn't doing anything. But I got my voltmeter here. Gonna at least test the wires. Maybe it's a motor, you never know. And if anyone's curious about how I test to see if a motor is out or not, my voltmeter here, you can hear it beep. So I'll try to see if I can do this two-handed, or one-handed, sorry. I'll put one on the ground right here, see if that one can stay right there, and then one on the black. It's not doing nothing. Red, not doing nothing. Yellow, not doing nothing. So that's a good sign. You do not want it to ground together with the ground. Then I'll put one on the black. Let's see if I can make this work. Red. Oh, it's not beeping regardless. So maybe it's just not grounding, so I'm gonna have to take off the wires and then do it that way. Majority of the time you can get away with not disconnecting them, but I guess in this case I might have to. Nothing. Ground? Nothing. Oh. Yep, the black is grounding together with the ground, so that means motor is out. Time to replace the motor. Good thing pulling poly wells is a lot easier, and it can be done with one person. But I got it all out of the well. Poly's all rolled up there. This is the pump right here, and the motor is behind the shroud right here. Only reason why this is on there is so that water gets sucked up in between here and cools down the motor as it's pumping it. So the water is what's cooling it. If you don't have that, there's times where the well will only last maybe a year sometimes, because it just gets hot and it burns out because of it. But I didn't find any wires that were broken anywhere along the way. Usually that's the case sometimes, where a wire will just get so hot and it'll burn through, and that's the reason why it's not working. But in this case, didn't see any of that, so I'm gonna take off this tape right here, take off the shroud, and test the motor, see if it's wanting to turn or not, or see if it's worn out or something. It might be out. I'm pretty sure it's out because it tested out, because there's no wire. But sometimes wire can be chopped off right there close to the motor, so sometimes not the motor's out, but you never know till you fully check up on it. Yeah, the motor is definitely out. It is not turning no matter what you do. It's stuck. Motor's burnt out. Pump is still fine. this is a 5-horse. I wanted to put a 5-horse back on here and put that back down the well because I believe this well has enough water for a 5-horse. But my brother doesn't think so. He wants to put a 3-horse in here, and we don't have a 5-horse at the barn. We would have to go to town and get one. We have a 3-horse in the barn, so I guess he wins. I guess we're putting a 3-horse in this well. I think it has enough water for a 5. He doesn't, but it is what it is. I'll start taking off this. We'll still keep this pump. It's still a good one. It's still practically brand new. I remember putting it in here, what, 2.5 years ago-ish, give or take, something like that. So it's still a good pump. We'll save it, but I'll still take it off. We'll put it in the barn. Just unscrew it right here, and then I'll get the right fittings to put the 3-horse back on there, or put the 3-horse on there. Yep, this well is pumping good now. This well better now pump open flow for years. On to the next one. Here they come, just blowing dust all over us. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Another well done, and on to the next one. And I believe after we fix the next one, then I'm going to come back here and turn this pivot on. And hopefully we have enough time in our day to change that package on that other pivot and still turn on that one. We just fixed another well, and it was a 2-horse. And so there's even more water coming into this pivot. Just gonna check up on the second well that we did. It looks like it's finally clearing up. It was very murky water earlier. Not really sandy water, just murky water, but looks like it cleared up. So that's good. Now I get to turn on this pivot. It's very simple now because it's all connected. I can just open this valve right here and close that valve at that pivot. And then I can just close this one. We have learned to never open or close these too quickly. We did it once. We opened it just as fast as we could. We just opened it, and then before you knew it, long line busted open because it like kind of swishes, and then it creates back pressure, and then it sucks it this way. And then it's so much force constraining that pipe that it just explodes and just rips apart. It was bad. It was like almost like 30-40 feet of pipe that we had ripped open. It's pretty bad, so we don't ever do that ever again. But we were watering this wheat. Just gonna turn this pivot off real quick. This wheat will be fine to not have water for a little bit. It does look pretty good. It is already very, very mature. It might be, I don't know, we're not quite sure if we want to swath it or for seed. So we'll see what it looks like later on, if it looks like it'll make more hay or if it'll look like it'll make more seed. That we quite haven't decided yet, but for now we're just watering all the wheat that we can for not getting any rain. If we got some rain, then we'd be making lots of hay bales this year, that's for sure. Like I might not even have to open too many tips. That tire is a tad flat though. Gonna have to come back here and fill up the tire. Let's see, rate. B, let's do 1 inch. I think, I don't know, we might have to do 1 inch. I was almost thinking I could do just 8/10, but I think I'm gonna do just 1 inch. And then that's reverse. Here we go. Now we're irrigating. Now we at least got one pivot going. Now just to change that package on that next pivot and see if we can get that pivot going yet today too. Well, we finished putting that package in that pivot, but we couldn't turn it on today because it has a flat tire, so that'll be something for tomorrow. Tomorrow, on the other hand, I will actually be listing out beds, and my brother was only going to end up doing all the odd end things that need to get done that are essentially one-person jobs. There's a couple of other packages that need to be switched, and a couple of pivots that need to be switched, as long as tires need to be fixed. So stuff like that is what he'll be doing, and I'll be listing up beds, so stay tuned for that video. But as for this video, as always, I do appreciate y'all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.